weekend on a culinary trip to the average family home in Turkey as we savored delicious comfort food that warmed up not only our bodies but our hearts as well as we were brought close to Turkish culture. As the AfriFOODlinks Ambassador for Lusaka myself, I was glad to witness Chef Met using locally sourced fresh ingredients that brought the food to life. Creating dishes that we were things in their own. My favorite dish is beef lamb. Dessert. Oh, so delightful. So don't miss out on next year's Turkish week. You are guaranteed delicious and nutritious food.
1,3 milliard de nourritures sont gaspillées chaque année dans le monde. Cela représente 30% de la production mondiale qui est jetée ou perdue alors qu'elle pourrait encore nourrir des milliards de personnes et même les restes qu'on ne finit pas dans les foyers. Dans les entreprises, il y a des écarts de tri qui vont à la poubelle car interdits à la vente, des produits proches de la date limite de consommation qui sont jetés alors qu'ils restent parfaitement consommables. Il y a aussi des pertes plus haut dans la chaîne à cause des soucis de stockage et transport des fruits et légumes par exemple. Heureusement, des héros comme Madagascar ont fait de la lutte contre le gaspillage alimentaire leur raison d'être.
On est au centre IM à Moussa. On partage notre quotidien sur notre volet food sharing. Donc IM, c'est un centre qui est bénéficiaire de nos dons en denrées alimentaires. Dans le monde, il y a beaucoup de denrées alimentaires qui sont gaspillées. Et c'est là qu'est née l'idée de pourquoi ne pas récupérer, redistribuer, donner à des personnes qui en ont besoin ces denrées qui vont être perdues. Et on récupère les écarts de tri. Donc les écarts de tri, c'est des légumes hors calibre qui ne sont pas dans les normes et on les récupère pour pouvoir redistribuer à des personnes qui en ont besoin, notamment les centres qui sont receveurs de bus. Nous, on travaille avec un bike. Un bike, c'est un transporteur à vélo parce qu'on veut impacter sur la dimension environnementale, donc réduire au maximum notre émission de CO2. Donc, un bike va récupérer les denrées alimentaires auprès de nos donateurs et les livre auprès de nos receveurs. On est à peu près 6 tonnes par semestre, donc dans les 12-15 tonnes par an. On a actuellement 17 centres sociaux bénéficiaires. Parmi ces 17 centres, on additionne à peu près 2000-2200 bénéficiaires. Donc, ça peut être des enfants, ça peut être des parents aussi comme au centre IM.
Est-ce que tu as une astuce que tu donnes aux gens justement pour pas éviter de gaspiller, genre pour pas appliquer au quotidien?
Pour pas gaspiller, le truc c'est d'acheter par semaine. C'est un petit menu où tu sais qu'est-ce que tu vas manger du lundi au dimanche. Comme ça, vraiment, tu minimises tout ce qui est gaspillage, tout ce qui est produit qui ne va pas être mangé ou tout ce qui reste dans le frigo. Arrêtez de gaspiller, partagez autant que vous pouvez et n'achetez pas ce que vous n'allez pas manger.
Hey everybody, this is a hidden gem in Ventux's food system. Welcome to the heart of Ventux's local food scene, the Green Market, a place where community meets sustainability. There is an array of organic and local produce. For instance, Gloria's sauces.
Most of our hot sauces are made with fresh produce from our local farmers who are struggling to sell their fresh produce in retail. And there's also like a lot of a high demand for a lot of locally made products in Namibia. So that's now the after fun of Eid. Cool. It's a full locally made product, 100% of Gloria.
Yeah. Oh wow,
Gloria's
that's
pepper sauce, yeah, and catering.
I'm not a spicy person, but this was so delicious and it was such a subtle but strong taste. Wow.
Juice is squeezed out. This is the nut which is left. Inside there is a kernel. So this is what we press to make the oil. It has good properties because it's cold pressed. It has also then all the nutrients are in. So it's anti-aging. It is anti-inflammatory. So you have people who have eczema or acne or stretch marks or pigmentation, it really helps the skin. And then you rub it in. See how light it is? I see.
Hi everyone, my name is Tashi and I'm joined by the AfriFOODlinks Youth Ambassadors. To answer the question today, what does bold, transformative and scalable action look like in our urban food systems? So Sam will be sharing our presentation. So just let us know if you can see the screen. Thank you, Sam. So while that loads, I just want to let everyone know that the session today is being recorded. I invite you to raise your hand or paste into the chat if you would like to contribute or if you have any questions for the speakers. We do also have interpretation today for our Francophone and Anglophone participants. So just make sure to click on the three dots at the bottom of your screen, navigate to more, click on the globe icon for interpretation, and select the correct language channel. That will allow you to listen in either English or in French, and also to participate so that other people can understand you through the interpreters. So what is AfriFOODlinks? AfriFOODlinks is an EU-funded project working to transform urban food systems in Africa and in Europe. And it was launched in 2022 and it's coordinated by ICTI Africa among 26 other partners. And its participating cities are from 65 cities around Africa and Europe. The goal of the project is really to make sustainable, healthy food a daily reality for urban residents. And the project really applies a food systems lens to these four areas: promoting healthy and sustainable diets, transforming food environments through real-world innovation, strengthening inclusive multi-actor governance, and accelerating local agri-food businesses. And my fingers, they weren't making sense. So one way that AfriFOODlinks contributes to these four pillars is through the Youth Ambassadorship Program, which is placing young people from different cities in the project at the heart of the project's pillars. These ambassadors are change makers in their own right and community connectors. Through storytelling, events, art, and advocacy, they surface food realities and champion solutions that often go unheard. To the next slide, please, Sam. So AfriFOODlinks centers its work on the urban food environment, which is a space where residents experience and shape their daily food choices. This is where issues like food access and nutrition, food affordability, and environmental impact all converge. The project identifies these three core drivers of change: infrastructure investment, from transport and energy systems to storage and market access; social and cultural preferences, for example, how traditions, education, and advertising influence dietary choices; and finally, business innovation, especially how informal and youth-led businesses can bring flexible, sustainable, and locally rooted food solutions. All of this is held together by governance, and the Youth Ambassador Program supports this by bridging gaps between institutions and communities, and by giving visibility to local stories and priorities. The youth aren't just beneficiaries of this project, they're partners in imagining and building more just and regenerative urban food systems. Over to you, Tiakali.
Thank you, Tashi. Hello, everyone. My name is Tiakali. My full name is Turi Rakutundani Tumau, but it's a bit long, so we'll stick to Tiakali for now. I'm AfriFOODlinks Youth Ambassador for Antananarivo, Madagascar, and I'm a content creator centered around food, content creation on social media. And right now, I want to get us into the middle of it. We won't waste any time. I'm gonna give you guys a prompt, and with this prompt, you can go to the next slide, Sam. We have a bit of problem. It's okay. I'll give you guys a prompt. So the prompt is: what comes to your mind? What are the first things that comes to your mind when you hear AfriFOODlinks Youth Ambassador? So type in the chat your answers. It can be words. It could also be like specific projects that you had in mind. And then we give everyone like around 30, 45 seconds to write what comes to their mind. And then we select 2 or 3 people to elaborate on the answers that they put in the chat. So please go ahead and type in the chat what comes to your mind when you hear AfriFOODlinks Youth Ambassador. Give 30 seconds, 45 seconds. I'm looking at the chat. I don't see any answer yet. Oh, okay, we have the first one. Great. We have Kyla, who wrote youth, fresh leaders. Tashi, who said brave, creative, famous. Ivan, who said hope. Dorian sharing stories. So it will be a bit cheating if I ask eClay members or specific youth ambassador people to elaborate on their answers. So maybe let's ask Ivan if he can elaborate a bit on his answer of hope. So maybe we can give Ivan if you can activate Ivan's mic so he can like answer.
I think you should be able to hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do. I am a representative of Italy, so I guess it is kind of cheating. But for me, why I'm putting hope is having been part of AfriFOODlinks from the very beginning. What I've realized is when people from outside of AfriFOODlinks talk about AfriFOODlinks, they always talk about the youth ambassadors. Always, it's like this thing that's really catches people's eyes, and I think it's because very often people in our line of work of sustainability, trying to build a better future, we are often very hopeless, and the and the one thing that gives us hope is young people. We almost I'm also still young. I'm also still a youth for a couple of more months. I've got, I think, one more month to be a youth. But there's this narrative that we're waiting for the youth to make things better. And I think that's both a very sad thing, but also a very powerful thing. Because why are we waiting? Why are we not, as older people, taking action? Why are we waiting for the youth? But I think we won't do anything if we don't have hope. So that's where I'll stop.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ivan. We'll do a last one. Mamadi said community. So Mamadi, I love this one. So could you please like give a few words about why you choose the word community around 30, 45 seconds? Is Mamadi there? Oh, looks like I can't hear you. Mamadi, are you there? Let me check. Oh, okay. It doesn't work. Okay. Well, I guess I'll choose just another one to wrap it up. Tagitu. You said creativity, sorry, gravity. That's the that's the food part token. No problem, Mamari. Creativity, youth and food. Could you like elaborate just a bit on that one, please?
I think that the AfriFOODlink is any way to involve young people in food topics. So you have to be creative to be interesting for young people. Otherwise, they are not interested on the topic and they just follow what they must do. And so you are involving youth over this, I think.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm glad the answers makes me happy because it's some of the things I really try to convey, which is first of all creativity, because many of us are everyone is a content creator in their own ways as a youth ambassador. And second one, the fact that like when you hear AfriFOODlinks, you also think about the ambassadors because it's our main role as well. So like if in a way you never heard even once about the youth ambassadors, it will be like a kind of a failure, I think, on our part. So I think we must have done something wrong, right, if you heard about us. So that's great. That brings us to the next part of our program, which will be the speakers we're going to share about you, like what we did. But before that, Dorian is going to introduce you to that part. So I'm giving Dorian, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Chiakali. So hi everyone, my name is Dorian Widrago. I'm a food engineer, food process engineer with interest in nutrition, sustainable food system, and so on. And I'm the ambassador from Montpellier in France, and I'm co-hosting with Chiakali. So now we will start with our three speakers, and they will share their experiences as ambassador. We will go from general to more concrete experiences. And please, all your questions until the end. And once all the speakers will have presented, we will give you the floor to answer your question. So now our first speaker is Fernando. He's the ambassador from Kelimani. Fernando is a dynamic social and environmental activist focused on youth empowerment, conservation, and also sustainable practices. And as an art performer, he uses his creativity to raise awareness on human rights, social justice, and also environmental issues. So now I'm giving you the floor, Fernando, to talk.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, Fernando.
Thank you. Yes, Dorian talked a lot about me, and maybe I don't agree, of course, you. But thank you for this opportunity. It would be a pleasure talking to you today. It is nice to see you again. It has been a while since the consortium meeting in Cape Town, and today I can see Mr. Chakal is around. Kayla, Dorian is a new one. We're not there, but here we are. So I will be addressing my speech on the topic from hashtags to harvest. It's like it is something that comes like from hashtag to harvest, digital storytelling in food advocacy. It is because of the role of the food ambassadors and how how they started dealing with the food, with food issues. And as we know, the food ambassadors, most of they are content creators, but then they use they abilities, their skills on digital platforms to promote actions related to food systems. So we are going to see digital platforms as powerful tools for change. And because this is what the food ambassador used to do, documenting local food practices, promoting sustainable farming, exposing food insecurity, and celebrating indigenous cuisines. I listed all these as introduction because these are characteristics from the food ambassadors. It's like in today's interconnected world, the youth are using digital platform not just for entertainment, but as a powerful tool for change. So through videos, podcasts, blogs, viral hashtags, these young voices like the AfriFOODlinks ambassadors are documenting local food practices. They are promoting sustainable farming, exposing food security, and celebrating indigenous cuisine. So this is a quick introduction about what has been done by the by the AfriFOODlinks. So the contents of the AfriFOODlinks Youth Ambassadors connects urban and rural communities. It also sparks conversations about climate smart agriculture, inspires behavioral change among the peers. You see, so we have these as well. Reason we are listing connecting urban and rural communities because we can showcase what has been done by those that contribute to strengthen the food system. So we can go to the next slide. Let us see this quote from Chiakali, from the food ambassador from Antananarivo. I want people to see that they can do more with what they already have. And then when we are together, we can accomplish great things. A very inspiring quote from Chiakali. So that's the essence of creative storytelling, like making the invisible visible, reminding us that food is not just sustenance, it is identity, it is like solidarity and agent. So importantly, these digital narratives humanize the food system, showing the faces behind food production, as I said, and the struggles of small-scale farmers and the creativity of young agro-innovators. So, from sharing recipes based on local ingredients to live streaming, for example, community gardens, youth storytellers are reshaping how we engage with food visually, culturally, and politically. So we have these, the youth voices reimagining food futures. This is something that can't be ignored when we are talking about the food ambassadors of the AfriFOODlink project. Across African cities, the AfriFOODlinks ambassadors are turning digital tools into storytelling powerhouses, capturing food realities, advocating for climate smart solutions, as I said, and connecting communities through powerful messages. Messages like these, you can go to the next slide. Let's see also a quote from Christine Bonaneri, that is the food ambassador from Kisumu in Kenya. My vision for my city's food system is a thriving, sustainable network that supports local farmers, fosters community engagement, and strengthens food security. So these visions come from Christine Bonaneri, the vision for her city, but can be also for any other person's city. So this is more than just a dream. It's a digital movement. It's like Christine, like many other AfriFOODlink youth ambassadors, use storytelling to build connections between farmers, eaters, and policymakers. You see? So the Food Ambassadors platform, it is important to state this, give youth the power to challenge exclusion, making space for stories of women farmers, for example, street vendors, traditional food knowledge that might otherwise go unheard. So the unheard voice are now can be heard. So you can go to the next slide. We have the thing about art plus food. That is a key characteristic from the food ambassadors. We know that most of some of the food ambassadors are art performers and are artists, and yeah, they show that art is not just for entertainment, as I said in my introduction. Then connected art plus food, that is equal to transformation. So youth artists, from poets to photographers, you know that we have all these. They are using their creative lenses to reimagine our relationship with food. Through storytelling, food becomes more than a product. It becomes a symbol of dignity, hope, and unity. So this is the youth perspectives comes to highlight how community self-reliance and collaboration are key messages being spread through artist storytelling. So we have art plus food, we equal to
Must conclude,
transformation.
Fernando.
So we have this picture showcasing what has been done by the youth ambassador. You can go to the next slide. And then, yeah, Let us have three reflections, a reflection, a suggestion, and a conclusion. A reflection from Tashi that says, imagine a world where food security, environmental stewardship, and youth empowerment come together to create lasting change. Let us reflect about this. As a suggestion, I bring like, if we want food systems that are inclusive, just and sustainable, then we must keep creating space for young people to tell their stories because they are the seeds of the future. So as a conclusion, from hashtags to harvest, this is how transformation begins, one story at a time, and you are leading the way. So thank you for your attention. Obrigado and merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Fernando, for your presentation. Well, very nice presented. Thank you for remember us to make the invisible visible. So we will come back to you for the question at the end. And now we will go to our next speaker, who is Abbas from Dakar in Senegal. Abbas is an entrepreneur in sustainable development, food security, social innovation. He's also founded Récolte Numérique Solidaire to reduce food waste, and he's working in several initiatives. So now, Abbas, the floor is yours.
Ok, merci beaucoup. J'espère que vous m'entendez bien.
Très bien.
C'est bon?
Oui.
Vous me recevez?
Oui, on t'entend très bien.
Ok, merci. Alors, bonjour à toutes et à tous. Je suis très honoré de prendre la parole aujourd'hui dans ce webinaire qui rassemble des jeunes engagés, des acteurs du changement et des partenaires du développement autour d'un sujet crucial, donc la transformation des systèmes alimentaires en Afrique. Je me présente, moi c'est Abbas Mbati, jeune leader engagé sénégalais dans le développement durable, la souveraineté alimentaire et les projets carbone. Aujourd'hui, je souhaite vous partager à la fois un regard de terrain, des perspectives et un appel à l'action collective. Première diapositive, s'il vous plaît. Vous pouvez passer à la diapo. OK, merci. Donc, posons la question de départ. Qui nourrit vraiment l'Afrique? Nous disposons aujourd'hui de 60% des terres arables mondiales. Pourtant, nos pays importent chaque année pour plus de 50 milliards de dollars de denrées alimentaires. Et ça, c'est un paradoxe alarmant. Mais au-delà des chiffres, il faut souligner une dynamique. Aujourd'hui, des milliers de jeunes Africains innovent chaque jour pour nourrir durablement leur communauté. Et j'aime dire ceci, la souveraineté alimentaire commence par la souveraineté de penser, c'est-à-dire penser et construire notre propre modèle ancré dans nos réalités. Diapositive suivante. Alors, comme première diapo, comme deuxième diapo, je voudrais insister sur la jeunesse africaine, catalyseur de la transformation. Aujourd'hui, plus de 70% de la population africaine a moins de 30 ans. Et ceci, ce n'est pas une statistique démographique, c'est une force stratégique. Les jeunes sont créatifs, proches des réalités locales, formés et déjà engagés dans l'agroécologie, les technologies agricoles, l'économie sociale et solidaire. Ils ne sont pas simplement bénéficiaires, mais ils sont acteurs et porteurs de solutions. Allez à la diapositive suivante. Ainsi donc, je voulais partager brièvement deux projets concrets sur lesquels je travaille actuellement avec d'autres jeunes. Le premier projet porte sur le climat et les carbones, donc les crédits carbone. Nous menons des actions de reboisement communautaire comme à Diofior, en Fatick, et dans certaines régions du Sénégal un peu reculées, où nous resterons les mangroves. Donc, ce travail aujourd'hui permet de générer des crédits carbone tout en créant des emplois ruraux et en impliquant aussi les jeunes dans l'économie verte. Le deuxième projet porte sur la souveraineté alimentaire. Donc, comme vous le voyez à droite, donc c'est avec la Fondation Abbas National. Nous accompagnons des coopératives de jeunes et de femmes. Nous soutenons aussi une agriculture biologique et locale. Donc, et menons des campagnes de sensibilisation dans les écoles pour éveiller très tôt les consciences à ces enjeux. Diapositive suivante. Ce sont des initiatives puissantes que nous avons déjà portées, mais ces initiatives sont confrontées à des freins, donc à des défis. Malgré leur pertinence, nous trouverons toujours le manque d'accès au financement, notamment pour les jeunes ruraux, la faiblesse des politiques publiques locales, une dépendance accrue aux intrants importés et une faible reconnaissance du rôle des jeunes leaders à part entière. Donc, on peut noter ici que le potentiel est déjà là. Les connaissances et les compétences sont déjà là, mais le soutien manque cruellement et il est temps de changer cela. C'est pour cela que nous annonçons les perspectives et les solutions. Allez-y à la diapositive suivante. Aujourd'hui, pour transformer durablement nos systèmes alimentaires, nous croyons fortement qu'il faut investir massivement dans la jeunesse. Parce que, comme j'ai l'habitude de le dire, la jeunesse est porteuse d'idées, d'expertise et d'énergie. Et nous pouvons aussi constituer un formidable potentiel de développement. Il faut également valoriser nos savoirs endogènes parce qu'ils sont aussi importants et entrent dans le cadre d'une gestion participative et inclusive. Il faut également créer des alliances entre jeunes, décideurs, chercheurs et entreprises. Donc, c'est ce bloc-là que nous devons faire, car aucun acteur ne peut agir seul. Vas-y, à la diapositive suivante. Et aujourd'hui, pour conclure, je voudrais partager une conviction forte avec vous. Les jeunes ne sont pas l'avenir. Comme certains ont l'habitude de le dire, les jeunes sont l'avenir. Les jeunes ne sont pas seulement l'avenir, mais ils sont le présent du changement. L'autre phrase importante, c'est que l'Afrique peut nourrir l'Afrique si elle donne moins à sa jeunesse. La transformation aussi commence ici et maintenant. Et comme le disaient certains mouvements que je soutiens, rien pour nous sans nous. Donc, tout ce qui se fait sans moi, tout ce qui se fait pour moi, sans moi et contre moi. Merci beaucoup pour votre attention et votre engagement.
Merci Abbas pour ta présentation. Merci de nous avoir rappelé cette force de l'Afrique qui est sa jeunesse et nous reviendrons vers toi pour les questions à la fin de la séance. So now we're gonna switch to our final speaker, who is Kyla, our ambassador from Windtech. So Kyla is an architecture student, content creator, youth advocate. She empowers young people through storytelling, motivational speaking, and a foundation supporting girls' hygiene. So Kyla, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction. My name is Kayla. And so when I was thinking about today's webinar, I was like, what did we learn? Like as AfriFOODlinks youth ambassadors, as people that worked within the project, as well as what did we learn that we can take once the project is finished? And this thing goes to anybody. These are 4 things that I think you can use in any area of your life that we specifically learned from this project. So the first thing is awareness. And I mean, awareness is, for me, is the foundation of change. I remember asking myself, as content creators, as storytellers, as youth ambassadors, we wanted to create awareness about AfriFOODlinks within our environments and where we find ourselves. And for me, it was not only creating that awareness, creating the content for that awareness, but also making people aware. And I think whatever you do in life, you want people to have an understanding of what it is you're trying to convey. And I think that's what we did so well with AfriFOODlinks. And if people aren't aware, for the instance, in the sense of consumers, if they're not aware about their carbon footprint, if they're not aware about their place within the food system, it makes them very difficult and very hesitant to actually make the change that they want to see. And so that was the first step, was just creating awareness and making sure that people were aware. It was so funny. I used to receive messages, and I still do to this day, of people after I posted something or after I spoke at an event or after I did that, someone would come back and they would have food for thought, no pun intended, but they would think about it and they would be like, I never thought about that, or I'm now more aware, or I think I should do this rather than that. And I think that's the biggest thing that we want to create in anything in life. You want to create awareness where you want people to be aware of their specific role within something. And in this case, it is in a sustainable food system. What is the role of the consumer? And what is our role? So simply by starting those conversations, we can do it. The next slide is agricultural importance. I don't know about you guys, but I love that all the AfriFOODlinks youth ambassadors are from different places. And people always ask me till this day, what is an architect student doing in urban agriculture? And I always laugh because I think it is so important. I think it's important that we have like different people within. It was so funny. When I went to the consortium meeting, I told someone, oh, I do architecture. And they were like, yeah, so does half of Italy. And I was like, are you serious? And it was so funny because it's town planners, urban. But I still deal with the urban context, but understanding architectural importance at its core. Because Windhoek, in my opinion, and I don't know if a lot of African cities can relate, it is quite expensive, especially in the sense of supermarkets, of buying fresh produce. It is quite expensive to be very healthy within the city. I always tell people, if you can live in Windhoek, Namibia, you can literally live in Europe, to that correlation. But I have seen in the last lots of years, let's say about the last 3 years, a shift in agricultural importance, because I think what we've done is a lot of people have gone to study to become a lawyer, become a doctor, and all these things, these amazing things, but we've neglected primary sector businesses. And I think we're bringing that back. We're saying, hey, this is important and we want to spotlight this. For example, I've seen the rise in urban farms within the city in initiatives like with the city of Windhoek, which is Farm Ukakuna, and another farm called Urban Harvest Farm Namibia. And they are dealing with hydroponics. They're dealing with, normal farming, but it's within a city context. And that's what we want. We want people to start growing their own produce. This has changed my entire family's life. Is my extended family, all of us are now growing our own produce. We are even exchanging what we have. And I think there is a shift, there's a direct impact from AfriFOODlinks. One thing that I saw recently is the mayor of Windhoek had her legacy plan. So that's a plan that they roll out every year for what they want to achieve when they're no longer in that position. And I was surprised to see what her legacy plan was, and it was to boost urban agriculture, where she decided that she will work alongside urban farmers within the city and give them the necessary skills to advance what they're doing. And I thought that is what AfriFOODlinks is doing. That is what we're doing. We're saying, hey, here is something that we need to do. And I think it is so important. It doesn't matter whether you work in our industry, it is important. Agricultural importance is so important. You may go to the next slide. This one is something that I wanted to talk about. It's because food systems in itself is quite complex, but we as AfriFOODlinks ambassadors have been brought in to make it not as complex. And I always once I heard what we had to do, I wanted to dive in and do everything. But I remember the words start at the basics, start somewhere, start small, because small changes eventually lead to bigger outcomes. For example, if my mom always has this saying, how do you eat an elephant? Bit by bit. Change doesn't happen overnight. Activism and change making starts somewhere. And that's what we did. We started at the basics. We said, what do we have?
we have a phone, we have technology, we have our voices, we have all these things, we have storytelling, and we used all of those things to make the impact that we needed. And it was, what else do we have? We have connections, we know people here. And that's kind of what we did. We really started at the basics. And now, where we are looking at it, it is so much more global. I mean, this project has grown into something incredible, but it had to start somewhere. It had to be with a little seed, and it has grown over time. So, yeah, no, I think over all these cities, we're going to see stronger and healthier food systems that the impact will make. The next slide, which is exposure. And I think exposure is everything. I think for a lot of us, we were exposed to new ideas, spaces, people that we hadn't even fully discovered or even thought we would be in. And for me, this wasn't just a journey about food systems. Of course it was, but it was really about into the bigger world. Where do we find ourselves as African countries, as African cities, as European cities? Where do we find ourselves on a global scale? You know, what is the impact that we can make, you know, through exposure? And we met the right people. We were in the right positions. We got a taste of governance, of policy making. We got a seat at the table, which for me has been so profound. And I think for other young people looking at us, that exposure is everything. And so for me, it's like, I was so surprised when we did the consortium meeting. It was some of our first times on a plane, first time in another country, first time in that specific, first time working with people from different cultures and cities. I've even had to improve my friendship at bonjour, comment ça, you know? First time specific topics or creating up with great ways. So for me, all these moments, what this our world that we see and wherever we to very impactful change. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyla, for your presentation, and thank you for. I'm totally agree. Change is a process, so we just have to start and to make things change. So thank you for all the speakers. Now we are going to move to the Q&A session, and I'm giving back the floor to Siakali.
Thank you, and thank you again for everyone for those lovely presentations. I see no one has typed any questions yet into the chat, so this is your time now to ask any questions. You can have any of our three speakers about anything they talk about or their global AfriFOODlinks Youth Ambassador experience. I'm gonna ask a question first since everyone is shy. So my question is like, I'm pretty sure like during this time you've been an ambassador, you've discovered so many cool projects, so many cool products also. So many cool things. So what was the one thing that you were like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I would have never discovered this without AfriFOODlinks project. And I have to share this to everyone. So like, yeah, if you have one project or one discovery you made along the way that like you couldn't share with us, that would be pretty cool. So does anyone have anything in mind right now? Kyla, Fernando, Abbas. Abbas already gave some examples, but maybe he has something else also he is thinking about. And in the meantime, people can type their questions in the chat. We have around like 10 minutes for question and Q&A session. So yeah.
Tia Kali, if I may answer.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Oh, Sarah also want to say something.
Okay.
Well, okay. Oh, you answer first, and then Sarah, you can go ahead.
Sorry, Sarah. I just wanted to say through AfriFOODlinks, I think the biggest thing that has been a blessing is really understanding other countries and other cities and finding the similarities and the differences that we have. We actually realize we're actually so much more similar, but the way that we tackle certain problems is very different. and then also mixing that with culture and the way that I think that has been something that I would have never experienced if it wasn't for AfriFOODlinks, because there's only so much you can do from like research, but actually meeting people and them having these discussions was really, really amazing and very eye-opening. So that would be mine.
Yeah, I also wanna, yeah, I agree on that, because when we met at the consortium and we talked about other youth and other people, we were like complaining about the same things, not just about food part, but also politics in our countries. And we were like, hey, we didn't like, we have the same problems. It's so weird and also sad, but also like gives hope at the same time. Like if we work together, we can figure something out. So yeah, that's a very big part. Okay, so we have a question from Womba. I'm gonna ask Sarah to ask her question first, and then we go to Womba's question.
Thank you, Tiakali, and thank you everyone for the presentations that are really, really lovely. Just carrying on to a really crucial statement that Abbas made, where he said, anything that is done for me without me is against me. I was interested in knowing how, for those that have had the opportunity, how have your voices been brought into conversations when it comes to your local municipalities or local governments? I mean, we all know that it's important. I think all local governments know by now that it's important to bring in youth voices, but I'd like to know how they've done that.
Okay, Fernando, do you want to answer directly Sarah's question? You can.
Yeah, I think I can go through. It is like yeah, for me, it is like, I think I have mentioned it once. I was in a conversation with Tashi, and I mentioned the thing of being an ambassador. It's like in every single context related to food. For example, if there is anything in my city that's about food, then the people first mention my name, like, Fernando. So I think this is because of what okay, let me use this, what we have been doing, and how it impacts in our cities. Because it's not because my own, like my doings, like that make like being so known, for example, but because of we are always sharing, for example, what has been done by the other ambassadors. So yeah, the idea of having every single person in my city talking about food and mentioning, for example, the food ambassadors. So it was nice. It was nice, and yeah, I think this can answer, and maybe some of you, some of the other ambassadors can also share the same perspective. But yeah, I think this is one of the, yeah. Thank you.
Dorian, you want to add something?
Don't want to add. I got a question, but
Oh, okay. Maybe okay. After, so we're gonna present very important, very interesting question right here from Saida. So we're gonna try to answer that one after too. So yeah. So first, Womba's question is, what is the strongest or most supported element of your city's food system? So I don't know if Kyla or Abbas or again Fernando have something they have an answer to that one. Most strongest supporting element in your city's food system. Or maybe I'll answer that one since it talks to me. I think the strongest one in my country would be you have so many different ways to acquire food, like from the cheapest, like really like dirt cheap food, to like the most expensive, and like some people will never get to eat that in their lives, which is sad, but like that's the way it is. Wait, I'll read Wumba what she said to help us on that. I have not interacted as much as I was hoping to, but from most of our few discussions, I've learned that they lack enough government support for various projects, especially pertaining to projects that positively impact the people food system projects. The focus is more on investor support rather than direct government support. Okay, so my bad. I didn't understand it clearly. She was talking about like which part um, the government is supporting. Is that it, Wumba? Maybe we can give Wumba the floor. She can talk.
Yeah, I can elaborate on that one. I was responding to Tashi's question in the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
She was asking, yes, she was asking what is something you've learned from interacting with your AfriFOODlinks partners, and I was mentioning that for me myself, I haven't been in contact with many of them, at least not enough, or as much as I would have liked to over my time as ambassador. But from one thing that I have heard from them especially during the city exchange, is the lack of government support for various projects that are maybe at city level. And a lot of other projects that are ongoing in the country, even in general, are coming more from international investments as opposed to direct government initiatives. That was the response.
Yeah, true. And did I understand correctly your question?
Almost. So I was basically asking, there's obviously different elements to the food system. So for example, maybe you've got the farming sector, or you've got retail, you've got logistics, infrastructure. Like, what would you say is the main part of your food system that is maybe thriving the most? Like, for example, in Lusaka, I would say it's mostly to do with production or slash farming, because that's where a lot of the input is going into when it comes to, let's say, government projects or even just sponsorship. It's mostly going into farming as of late.
Okay, Kyla wants to speak, and Sam too. Maybe we give the floor to Sam a bit.
Sam, you can go.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Tia Kali. Yeah. Just to respond to Womba's question, I think in the Mbale context, that's in Uganda, I think most of the investment has really been in production. A lot of government programs coming up, cutting across cities and also districts, but a lot of it being going into extension services, provision of inputs for farmers, and also any other needs, maybe access to finance. There's the programs, I would say, that sort of reduce interest rates on agricultural credit. So that's one of the major areas that the government is investing in. But within cities, I think most of the secondary cities within the country just growing. So there's a lot of investment in infrastructure. I must say things like improved markets, roads, among others. Yeah. So for my context, yeah, that's what I wanted to submit. Thanks.
Thank you, Sam. Kyla?
No, it's also the same. I think now we've seen a shift specifically within private sector. I think private sector has pushed the idea because obviously you have your vendors, you have your farmers, and they sell their fresh produce, but we always ask the question, how do we preserve this? In Namibia, the problem that we have is we export a lot of raw materials and then we import a lot of like canned goods. And so that for me has always been something that I think we are lacking within manufacturing and obviously making the finished product. And I think a lot within the private sector, I think government is trying their best, but they still heavily invest in, the basics of farming, agriculture. But I think private sector has started to invest more in making finished products, helping local vendors get their products onto the shelves locally and internationally. So I think that's the shift that we've kind of seen here in Windhoek and in Namibia.
Thank you, Kyla. I see Abbas is raising his hand. There's also Dorian's question, but we don't have much time left. But there's one question that I want us to answer for sure. Un système alimentaire durable parfait pour vous, 3 éléments nécessaires. Du coup, on va plutôt, sorry. So we're going to answer this question instead. So for you guys, what would be a perfect food system? And can you give 3 elements of a perfect food system for you? Three elements. Yeah. So maybe Abbas, like, do you still feel up to answer that question?
Je peux parler, n'est-ce pas?
Oui, oui, tu peux parler, mais...
Ok, pour moi, donc, un système alimentaire durable, parfait, repose sur 3 piliers. Il y a d'abord ce qu'on appelle la justice sociale. Et quand je parle de justice sociale, je fais allusion au fait de garantir, par exemple, un accès à une alimentation saine et efficace, donc et suffisante aussi pour tous, en valorisant non seulement les petits agriculteurs, les petits producteurs, mais aussi en luttant contre le gaspillage et la précarité alimentaire. Ça, c'est la première des choses. Et la deuxième, c'est la souveraineté locale. Donc, c'est une notion très importante, la souveraineté locale. Ceci signifie de renforcer, par exemple, les circuits courts, soutenir les producteurs familiales et promouvoir aussi les savoirs agroécologiques, donc traditionnels, adaptés aux réalités locales. Et le dernier élément, donc le troisième point, c'est l'innovation responsable. Et quand je parle de l'innovation responsable, c'est d'intégrer les technologies, donc les nouvelles technologies, que ce soit le numérique, que ce soit l'intelligence artificielle et que ce soit aussi l'agro-transformation. Donc, ceci pour véritablement améliorer la productivité, mais aussi la transparence et la traçabilité tout en respectant l'environnement et les communautés. Merci.
Yeah, Abbas. Okay. Fernando, one last time, you have 1 minute, and then you're going to have to conclude. So I'll give you the floor one last time. So go ahead.
All right. For me, going through the question about the food system, it's like for me, it has to be as to foster ownership. You guys think about a food system in which each person understands it has a role in it. You see, that's all. A food system that fosters ownership. The one that eat, our work just for eat, then we need to understand that we are part of the food system. Every single person has to understand. So fostering ownership is like if we have a food system that fosters ownership, then it's a very good, perfect food system.
That's a very good point. Thank you. Unfortunately, Sam, we don't have much time anymore, so I'm going to have to postpone your question for another time, I hope. We'll have another one. That's mainly it. I want to thank all the speakers, everyone who participated, and thank you all for your hard work during all these years as a youth ambassador. I also want to thank Ikle, of course, who supported us during all this time. You can have here, Tashi's going to take the lead, so I'm going to let Tashi talk.
Thank you, Tiakali. Yeah, I just wanted to also say thank you to all of you, for Darian and Theori, for Tiakali, for leading us in this session, for Sam for being our tech lead, and Abbas, Fernando, and Kayla for sharing your experiences. There's a bunch of youth ambassadors on this call, and we're so happy to have had some external participants join and ask questions. Thank you for Adele and Wamba for also taking notes. So we'll write up a little piece about this call to share with people who weren't able to join. And yeah, just to comment on the page you see in front of you, each youth ambassador in their city is working on putting together a mural with some artists and collaborators in each of their cities. So here, just have a quick name drop. Is in the middle, you have the one from Antananarivo, from Theori. On the right-hand top corner is from Windhoek, Kayla's mural. Bottom right is a mural from Turin, from Francesca, who was not able to join. In the middle center at the bottom is our mural from Niami. So that's Marie who did that. And on our left, the mural from Montpellier, Dorian's mural. So just want to say thank you again to everyone, and you'll see there's a link I've posted in the chat. This is a first for the Youth Ambassadors as well. We've relaunched the page with all of their stories and actions on it. So this is the first time they'll be clicking on it too. It's a constant work in progress. So we invite you to have a look at it today and keep returning to that page for more stories and things produced by our Youth Ambassadors. Thank you, Sine, as well from Italy Africa for coordinating this webinar.
Thank you. Oh, so cool. I'm gonna look at the page right away as soon as we end it.
All right, and thank you so much to our interpreters. I always forget to mention you, but our honorable interpreters who make this happen.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I guess.
Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.